Our next question is from our guy at Lil Nell Nell on Twitter. He's a big fan of the show. His question to you guys is, which role player will have the largest role on the squad this season? Love the pod. Appreciate you, buddy.
Go ahead. You got it.
Let's are we saying like role players anyone outside of the big three?
I would say outside of those three. Yeah.
Anyone outside of those three? Okay. I wasn't sure we just do bench or okay. So I'll do anyone outside of those three. A lot of good candidates for this, actually, but I'll go with Martin. I'll go with Caleb Martin. And I think what's so important for him is that, speaking of wearing many hats, whereas I think Oubre provides a lot more slashing, a lot more dunks, I think Martin's going to have to hit open threes. He's going to have to really like that catch and shoot that we talked about for him like a month or so ago. That's going to be very important for him. Like he's going to have a lot of open shots night in, night out. And I think those are probably going to be the majority of his shots that he takes, open catch and shoot threes. So I think he's got to hit those. I think it's really important that he does. And then also, since we are an undersized starting five, people have him slated at starting power forward, but people also say they want to see him guard Brunson a decent amount of the game. So that's a big change. So night in, night out, you're going to have him guard fours. You're going to have him guard Brunsons. That's going to put him in just wearing a lot of different hats defensively. Luckily, he came from Miami, so he's well prepared to take on a lot of new challenges. Spo gets his guys prepared on night-to-night basis. So I think he has the right mindset coming into it, but I would think that he's someone that's going to be vital to a lot of the success as a role player. What do you think, Eric?
I think Martin is kind of the usual suspect because he's a new guy in town with such a big role.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of hinted on Martin, so I'll kind of go a different direction with two people. And I'll say Kelly is one that I think that because he was there previously and with a different dynamic. So how does he fit now? Because he's a very crucial part to the success that we need to have.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in and you're on the same team by name, but it's a different team. So what do you do now with Paul George on the team? Like, how do you make that fit now? And Caleb Martin on the team, which are basically sort of around the same size and could be looked at to do the same things in certain ways. So how does that fit? Because neither guy is really coming in and kind of giving us a change up of being able to give Maxey a break and bring the ball up the court, initiate the offense. Like none of them are really considered that type of guy. So finding a real balance with those three. I mean, I think you said it a lot about Martin, and I think Kelly is the other guy. And also I got to state that I know even though people look like Teja look at his salary, in some ways, Paul's role, because he hasn't been a number 3 guy going into the season. With quotes, because that's what he is supposed to be, but we don't know. So if he is particularly played like that, then he becomes more of a role player,
like a hybrid,
less of the guy, sort of the guy sometimes, the role player at other times.
Yeah.
So, and how well he does that when he's not getting the basketball as much. does he still impact the game? And he will impact the game, but how much does he impact the game?
Stay engaged
If
too.
he's not getting 20, 25 touches, 30 touches a game. So I think that we have to kind of put that on notice too. And if Paul, it happens to be the kind of play into sort of the number two, then how much of a role does Maxey play? And how more effective can he be as the number three guy? Like we were just assuming that Maxey's two and Paul is three, but salaries could say differently, and play could say differently.
Yeah. My honorable mention would have been Drummond, just because we're so undersized, and Drummond's going to have a crucial role because he's going to need to make up for the lack of size and rebounding when Embiid's not out there, when Embiid's active, and on nights where Embiid's not playing at all. He's got to step up and be super center and grab 15 boards a night. So that's just a crucial role for him because he's like a part-time starter pretty much. Like you could already – Drummond's coming in thinking, okay, I'm probably going to start like 10 to 15 games at the very least this year, right? So off the bat, I'm starting that many. On top of that, you might have nights where Embiid, just plays a little less, right? So, Drummond's a crucial player as well for rebounding.
I think talking about role players. I don't know how big of a role this guy's going to get, but I think this was a couple weeks ago. Eric Wintation and I did a show when you were gone. It was right around the time we signed Gershon Yabusele from France, the guy who tore it up during the Olympics. What do you make of him? Because there's a lot of fans out there who do want him to get some time starting at 4 during the season, depending on matchup. Could you see him getting a starting role at the 4 sometimes, depending on matchup, or how do you see him fitting in?
I could see it happening, but I don't think it's anything's going to happen beginning of the year. I'll be very surprised if we start the season like that. And if we do, that means he was really killing camp.
Yeah.
So I think it could be earned, but I think it's going to take time because it's how Joel plays and how Paul and like how they all mix. Like it's going to take some time, but it would not surprise me if he kind of carved out a role at a position that we kind of know from the standpoint of traditional fours we could be lacking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the arguments that I've seen from a lot of fans is, we signed Kelly Oubre late in the offseason last year, and then he started, and we didn't think he was going to start right off the bat, and he did. So there's maybe potential of that.
Yeah.